This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We're in Cardiff and I'm joined by trainer Tony Sims. Tony, firstly, how are you? How has life been treating you?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. I've been here all week, so yeah, I'm fine. I like Wales. I like the Welsh people as well.
What have you been up to in your downtime, aside from obviously training Joe? What have you been up to, Tony?
Well, I've got Felix Cash with me as well because he's fighting on July the 9th, so he's been down a week with me as well. So we've just been training. We've been sparring over at Tony Borg's gym. We're going back there tomorrow and just running in the valleys and the sand dunes, and it's been a good week down here actually, training wise.
Think you might set up a camp out here, get the rest of the team down for 1 week?
Oh, funny enough, I said where we was this morning at the sand dunes, it was beautiful. There was lovely country lanes, and I was saying I wouldn't mind spending a week here, like away from civilization. It's lovely.
I'm sure you can arrange something in the future, Tony, but obviously the reason we're here is your child, Joe Cordina, is ready now to challenge for his first world title against Kenichi Ogawa on Saturday night. Obviously caught up with you last week, Tony, so just to kind of get an update as to how the remainder of Joe's camp went from last Tuesday up until this point.
Yeah, he's in good spirits, Joe, and he's in his hometown, and you know, I was walking through the centre earlier on with him after the press conference, and all the people, you know, he knows everyone around here in Cardiff. They was all shouting out to him, good luck, and you know, it's where you want to be if you're ever going to make a world title challenge. There's nothing better than to do it in your hometown, and Joe's lucky enough that you know, this has fell for him right, and you know, and many a time, like when you challenge for world titles, you have to go into the champion's backyard. So he's very fortunate, and he's got a great opportunity to fight for the world title in Cardiff, and you know, hopefully achieve what he's dreamt of, his boyhood dreams of being a world champion.
Tony, what has to be the approach to this fight? So, you know, speaking to Eddie Hearn earlier, and he was saying, you know, it would be very dangerous for Joe just to rely on his boxing skills, just to kind of allow Kenichi to continue to walk forwards and to be relentless and aggressive. He needs to kind of push back a little bit himself, not be aggressive or looking to go on the front foot necessarily, but just kind of effectively earn his respect. Is that something you agree with?
I think Joe's smart enough to do whatever. You know, he can go forward, he can fight well on the inside, he can fight on the back foot, he can go behind a jab. Joe's pretty adaptable at doing any sort of style of fighting, so you know, he's trained for a really hard fight over 12 rounds. He knows Kenichi Ogawa is a good fighter, he knows he can punch. So Joe's a smart fighter, he's a smart guy, he's been in the sport a long time, and you know, it all comes down to the 36 minutes of fighting. You know, your whole lifetime dreams of fighting for the world title and winning the world title comes down to 36 minutes of your life. And he knows he's got to put a career best performance in to win this fight. And he's worked hard for it, sacrificed a lot, living away from home. And he's going to be ready to fight on Saturday night. And I believe if he performs like I know he can, I believe that he'll walk away with a title.
Joe has been quite insistent when asked about the power that he possesses, that he can hurt or damage Kenichi come Saturday night, and he says he shows it in the gym. He just hasn't necessarily had to show it in a fight so far. Do you see that, Tony? Obviously working with him day in, day out, do you see the power that he possesses and the problems it could cause Kenichi come Saturday night?
I think with Joe's speed of punch, it obviously brings the power with it. So, you know, no one would say that Joe's a devastating one-punch knockout artist, but he carries enough power in his hands and enough speed to hurt anybody and cause anybody problems. And I'm sure Ogawa's team have looked at Joe and are aware of that anyway. So these two world-class operators are going to fight each other Saturday, and I'm sure Ogawa's well prepared for Joe as well. So it's going to be a good fight. As I say, I believe if Joe boxes to the ability that we all know in the gym that he's got, you know, he's capable of winning this world title.
Tony, obviously away from Joe, as you mentioned, you had Felix Cash come up from the beginning of the week since we last spoke. Again, last Tuesday, you mentioned the Kamil Seremeta fight might be a name which you'd try and make the fight there. Is any update with regards to that?
I spoke to the matchmaker Christian today, and I know he's been talking to Seremeta's people. So, yeah, I'm just awaiting on the name of obviously Felix's Cash opponent, whether that fight can be made or not, or whether they go on to someone else. But he'll obviously be defending his WBC international title, and then we'll be after this fight, we'll be looking to put him into a really big fight, maybe eliminator for the world title next.
Away from Felix, obviously catching up on young Conor Benn again. What is the latest with him since we caught up last week? Keith Thurman was a man that we was talking about. Have you had any further information put to you about that?
Not at the moment, no. Obviously, Eddie's working on that, and we're probably looking at a date of either September, October now. He was going to fight on the July 9th show, but I just don't think it was enough time to put an opponent together for him, and so we'll just await on his next date and his next fight. But obviously Eddie Hearn's working on that at the moment.
Is Keith Thurman the name at the top of your list, Tony?
Well, it's not that he's the name at the top of my list. He's a name that he's probably gonna WBO are probably gonna mandate Conor Benn versus Keith Thurman. Would have thought so for a final eliminator for the WBO title, because as we know, Jaron Ennis won a final eliminator for the IBF, and Virgil Ortiz is fighting David Avanesian for final eliminator for the WBC. So that just leaves Conor Benn and Keith Thurman. I would think within the next couple of months that will be ordered, that fight. So if it is ordered, and then we'll be likely taking that fight.
Away from Keith Thurman, I want to ask you about a tweet that I saw from Rick Marigian, the manager to Jose Ramirez. He put something out last week saying, or it might have been earlier this week rather, for the rumours that Jose Ramirez turned down Conor Benn, it's complete BS. We simply got an offer that just didn't work or fit, and Ramirez makes and has made far more going back 5 years. I've had so many calls on this. We are here to make deals, and if one is close, it gets done. Now, I asked Eddie about it earlier, and asked Conor as well. But Eddie said they made an initial offer, I think it was around 800k, and then a second offer which burst through the 1 million mark. I was trying to get your thoughts on kind of all of that information. But
well, what do you think if you get made a $1 million offer to fight Conor Benn? What do you think of that weight as well? I mean, maybe he has earned $1 million before for a fight, but to me that's quite a big offer.
Are you disappointed that fight doesn't seem like it can be made? Or it might be if he's revisited, but for the time being it doesn't look like it's a likely fight. Are you disappointed?
Well, that fight, they were talking about that fight for the July the 9th, but as I said, that date's gone now anyway, so I think the more likely fight will be Keith Thurman now, and that will be made for final eliminator, whereas the Ramirez fight was just like a 10-round fight or 12-round fight. So it didn't really mean a lot. But obviously the Thurman fight's going to mean something if that gets made.
Obviously another name that's always been linked to Conor is David Avanesian. Now, again, only a few days ago we heard the news about a potential fight between him and Virgil Ortiz. What do you make of that situation, Tony?
Yeah, it's a great fight. I see that the WBC have ordered that fight. So that's a great fight, and it's a tough fight, and I've been over at Robert Garcia's gym and seen Ortiz work firsthand. He done a few spars with John Ryder when John Ryder was fighting for the interim title over there, and he's a big guy on the weight, and a very, very good fighter as well. So that's a difficult fight for David Avanesian, but I'll look forward to watching that fight with interest. It's a great fight.
Is there still any chance we see Conor and David Avanesian clash at some point, Tony?
Well, if David Avanesian gets through the Ortiz fight, then he'll be mandatory for the WBC title. So it's depending on whether, you know, we know Crawford and Spencer are possibly, or 90% know now that they're possibly going to fight in September, October. So that's dependent whether whoever wins out of Ortiz and Avanesian, whether they fight for the vacant title or whether the victor of Spence and Crawford stay champion and defend against one of them two. So maybe down the line, yeah, maybe they'll meet, but probably everyone's going in different avenues now, like Jaron Ennis, Ortiz and Conor Benn maybe going on different title avenues, but maybe they'll meet, you know, along the line. If they all become victorious in their fights, you know, maybe they'll meet, and you never know what's going to happen in boxing, you know.
You mentioned obviously seeing Virgil Ortiz as well out in the States in Robert Garcia's gym. Now, it's recently come out that he's teamed up with Anthony Joshua ahead of that Alexander Usyk rematch, Tony. I just want to get your thoughts on that link up for somebody who's worked with AJ, yourself personally, who's been in and around him, and as you said, you've seen Robert up close and personal. The right move, the right decision, just your take?
Well, it's like when you asked me this last week, Andy, you know, you said, what did I think of him teaming up as with Angel for his you know, for his trainer, and I said to you then, I believe that he'll get someone experienced in. You can't go into a fight with Usyk, a massive fight like that, with an inexperienced trainer in your corner. And with Robert Garcia, he's very, very experienced. You know, he's been about a long, long time. He's had a lot of good fighters. You know, and I obviously believe that Joshua should have stayed with Robert McCracken, but obviously they've made the split, both of them, and you know, I think Robert Garcia is a great name to get in the corner. He's experienced and he knows boxing, you know, back to front, and he's a nice guy as well. I've been over and trained at his gym quite a few times, and he's a nice guy as well. So I think I think he's done a great thing getting him on board.
From a tactical and from a technical standpoint, Tony, and as a fellow trainer, what does Robert bring in that sense, which he'll be looking to bring out of Anthony Joshua ahead of that rematch?
Well, I think, as I said, his vast experience of the boxing game. Obviously, he's a former world champion himself, and we see what he done with his brother Mikey. He's an aggressive sort of trainer. His fight, obviously, you know, 95% of his fighters are Mexican, so his fighters fight in an aggressive manner, and you know, being over there and working out of his gym, training my fighters in his gym, doing a lot of sparring over there. I took Conor Benn over there to spar, and as I said, John Ryder, Felix Casher sparred over there, Joe Cordina sparred over there. All his fighters are aggressive fighters, and I would have thought that might have been one of the main reasons that Joshua's hired him, because he needs to bring aggression into the fight of Usyk, and I think it's a wise decision to bring Robert on board.
Tony, just before we wrap this up, just a final word on Saturday night. Obviously, as we mentioned, you know, Joe getting ready, but for yourself, the chance to have another world champion in the stable, your only current potential world champion you would have. What do you mean for you to have another world titleist, being able to train alongside them, bringing them in, and what it could do for the rest of the gym and motivate the rest of them?
Yeah, you know, it's big for the gym. Like, success breeds success, and like with the young fighters we've got in the stable now, we've got quite a few young ones that were signing up, and you know, we've had world champions through my gym in the past, and I know that all the youngsters look up to them and want to emulate them, you know. And when you see a guy that started off in our gym and then he becomes world champion, then he gives everybody, you know, they look up to that, and everybody wants to be on board and doing what Joe's done. And you know, as I say, he's got a difficult fight Saturday night, but he's more than capable of bringing his title home.
But Tony, we'll leave that there now, and I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day, or the rest of your evening rather. Only got the weighing tomorrow and fight night, so obviously good luck come Saturday night. I'm sure I'll see you about before then, but thanks for speaking to me in Boxing Social.
Nice one, Andy. No problem, mate, and I'll see you tomorrow at the weigh-in.